Let's get one thing straight. Women are not puzzles to be solved or codes to be cracked. They are emotional, intuitive, sensual beings. And if you truly understand what drives a woman's desire, you'll know that getting her into bed isn't about flashy words or cheesy lines. It's about how you make her feel in the moment. If you think seduction is all about physical attraction or money, you're already 2 steps behind. The truth, a woman can meet you and feel a deep, almost magnetic connection so powerful that she gives herself to you the very same day. Yes, it happens, but not to everyone. Only to the man who knows exactly how to activate her mind, emotions, and body. So let's get into the 3 powerful things you need to do, and do right, if you want her to sleep with you that same day. When it comes to intimacy, there's one thing most men overlook completely, and that is the emotional space a woman needs before she can even think about becoming physical with you. Many men try to impress with money, status, or charm, thinking that's enough to get her into bed. But what they fail to realize is that for a woman, it's not about what you have, it's about how you make her feel in the moment. You see, women are not wired like men. They don't respond to lust on command, the way most men do. For her, sex begins in the mind long before it ever becomes physical, and if you don't know how to make her feel safe emotionally, mentally, and energetically, then her body will never feel safe enough to open up to you no matter how good looking you are or how confident you pretend to be. Real connection, the kind that makes a woman want to give herself to you without hesitation, happens when she feels emotionally secure, when she can breathe around you, when she doesn't feel like she has to be someone else just to be liked or accepted, and that level of comfort is rare for her. That's why when a man creates it, she notices immediately and starts to relax, because in that moment, she's no longer on guard, no longer evaluating your intentions or protecting herself from being used or judged. And that shift in her energy is powerful. It begins with presence. When you speak to her, are you really listening? Not just waiting for your turn to talk or plotting your next move, but genuinely tuned into her words, her body language, the tone in her voice. Because when a woman feels heard, when she senses that you're not distracted or zoning out or treating her like just another girl you're trying to impress, she feels valued. Most men don't even give a woman that gift anymore. They either talk over her, try too hard to relate, or they pretend to be interested while their eyes wander, and women can feel that. But when you create that rare space of pure attention, when your eyes meet hers with calm, grounded interest, she feels it in her body. She starts to drop the act, she softens, she starts to lean in, to share more, to become more open without even realizing it. That's emotional safety in action. And the truth is, the moment she senses that she's not being evaluated, that she can be her messy, beautiful, complicated self, and you're still there holding space without flinching, that's when she begins to feel something different for you. Because she's not used to that. She's used to being sized up, talked at, or approached with selfish intent. So when you make her feel safe, not by promising her anything, but by being real, present, and respectful, it's like her walls start to crumble from the inside out. Emotional safety doesn't mean you're overly soft or submissive either. It's not about being a people pleaser. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Women feel safest around men who have emotional discipline. That means you're not overly reactive. You're not seeking validation. You're not trying to get her to like you. You're just being you, solid, relaxed, grounded in your own energy. That kind of presence is rare and attractive because it shows her you're not here to perform or pretend. You're not thrown off by silence or uncomfortable when things get real. You can hold your own. You don't need her approval, and because of that, she feels like she can trust you more. When you mix that kind of emotional strength with real empathy, the ability to understand her perspective, even if you don't agree, it's magnetic. She feels like you see her, and the moment a woman feels seen, really seen, her heart opens. Her body follows. She begins to associate you with safety, comfort, arousal, and excitement all at once, And that's a powerful combination. There's also something subtle but essential here: your energy. Women are emotional receivers, which means they're highly sensitive to the emotional frequency you carry. If you're anxious, desperate, or pretending to be someone you're not, she'll sense it even if your words are perfect. But if you're calm, confident, and genuinely enjoying the moment, she feels that too. She starts to mirror that calmness. Your energy becomes contagious. She becomes more playful, more flirty, more comfortable letting her sensual side come out. And that's where everything starts to shift. She starts imagining what it would feel like to be closer to you, to kiss you, to feel your hands on her. It becomes less about a decision and more about a natural progression. That's how real desire is born. It doesn't come from pushing or persuading. It comes from allowing her to feel safe enough to explore that side of herself without shame, without fear, without the feeling that she's making a mistake or giving something away that she can't get back. And it's important to understand this. Women are just as sexual as men, often even more so, but they're selective with who they express it to. They need the right container. They need the right emotional environment. And when you provide that container, they will surprise you. A woman who feels safe can go from cautious to deeply intimate with you in a matter of hours, not because she's easy, but because you made her feel something rare, something real, something she hasn't felt in a long time. So many men try to force attraction, but the real power lies in inviting it. You create the space, she steps into it. You don't chase her, you draw her in. And the moment she chooses to move closer, it's not because she's lost control, it's because you helped her feel in control. That's emotional intelligence, that's presence, that's safety, and that's the secret most men will never understand. It's not about manipulation. It's not about game, it's about truth. You want her to sleep with you the same day? Then you have to be the kind of man she can trust the same day. That means showing her through your actions, your tone, your presence, that you're not a threat, that she can let go of her fears and just be. When she feels that, when she believes it, she will open herself to you in ways that you never had to ask for. That is the power of emotional safety. It's subtle, it's deep, it's invisible to the eye, but undeniable to the heart and body. It's what separates the man she flirts with from the man she surrenders to. And once you understand how to offer that kind of space, not just to get what you want, but because it's who you are, women will start responding to you differently. They'll feel drawn to you. They'll crave your presence. And yes, many will be willing to go further with you faster than they ever imagined. Because when a woman feels safe, she lets herself feel everything else too. She stops overthinking. She stops hesitating. She starts following her desire. And that desire, when mixed with emotional connection, becomes something unforgettable for her and for you. Most men underestimate the power of body language, yet it's one of the strongest tools of attraction you'll ever possess, not because it's flashy or loud, but because it speaks to a woman on a level that words simply can't reach, and when it's used with intention and authenticity, it ignites something primal in her, something instinctive that bypasses her logic and triggers her body to feel drawn to you in ways she won't even be able to explain. And that's where real seduction begins, not in manipulation or scripted lines, but in your presence, the way you stand, the way you move, rhythm of your gestures, the tone of your voice, the energy you bring into every room you enter, because women are not just watching. They're feeling, absorbing, reading the unspoken language your body speaks before your mouth even opens. And the truth is, they decide within seconds whether you're someone they could be close to or someone they need to keep at a distance, and you'll never hear them say it out loud. But the moment you get this right, you'll notice everything shifts in your favor, so you begin with presence. Not arrogance, not overcompensation, but real, grounded presence. Kind that doesn't beg for attention but commands it effortlessly. Because when a man walks in, and he's completely comfortable in his own skin, when he's not rushing to prove anything, when he's moving with calm confidence like the world can take its time, and he's in no hurry, women notice. They feel that vibe from across the room. It makes her heart skip a beat without knowing why. And when you approach her, it's not about what you say first. It's how you say it. It's the warmth in your eye contact, the steadiness in your voice, the sense that you're fully there with her and nowhere else. Not fidgeting, not looking around, not trying to predict her reaction. Just anchored in yourself and offering that energy without apology. And when you speak, your words aren't rushed. They aren't trying too hard. They flow with a rhythm that mirrors your confidence, because women hear more in how you speak than in what you say. And when your tone is low, controlled, clear, and expressive, she immediately begins associating that sound with intimacy, because it's calm, it's masculine, it's safe, and in that moment, you're not trying to seduce her. You're simply allowing her to feel something, without pressure, without performance, without agenda, and her body starts to pick up on those subtle cues, and her mind begins to lean in closer without her realizing it. Now your physical gestures matter more than you think, because if your body is stiff, closed off, overly fidgety, or too aggressive, it gives off the wrong signal. But when your posture is open, shoulders back, chest relaxed, movement slow and intentional, your presence becomes inviting. It suggests that you are in control, not of her, but of yourself, and that is what makes her curious. That is what makes her want to be around you longer, and when the moment feels right, you can begin to introduce subtle, respectful touch, not invasive, not rushed, just a light touch on the arm when you laugh, a gentle guide on her lower back as you move through a crowd, and only if she welcomes it with open body language and positive reactions, because consent is not just verbal, it's energetic, and when you know how to read that, you create a sense of intimacy that feels organic, not forced. Her body is responding long before her words do, and when she's into you, you'll notice how she mirrors your movements, how she starts leaning in closer, how she finds excuses to touch you back, and in that moment you don't need to overthink. You just maintain that steady, grounded presence, because anything too eager, too hungry, too intense too early will break the flow and make her retreat. But if you remain calm, the moment unfold naturally. Allow her to feel like she's choosing this without being cornered or convinced. She will surprise you, because now it's not about a strategy. It's about chemistry. Understand that women want to feel desired, but not objectified. They want to feel chosen for more than their body, but also appreciated because of their body. And that balance is delicate but powerful, and it's communicated through your eyes, the way you look at her, not like she's a piece of meat, but like she's art, like you're intrigued by her, not just her curves but her essence, her energy, her feminine glow. And when you maintain eye contact that's warm, curious, but unafraid, it sends a clear message that you're not intimidated, that you can hold space for her sensuality without flinching, and that's rare, and that's magnetic. She wants to feel like a woman in your presence, not just admired but awakened, and your body language either makes her feel that or it doesn't. So every step you take, every pause, every smile, every glance, it all adds up to one thing: how she feels in your presence. And when that feeling is one of comfort, excitement, and mystery, she begins to crave more of it. She starts imagining what it would be like to be touched by you, kissed by you, undressed by you, not because you asked, not because you pushed, but because your energy invited her into that fantasy. The best seducers are not the ones who talk the most or touch the fastest. They are the ones who create tension, who understand that desire builds in the silence, in the looks, in the pauses between words, in the way your hand lingers for half a second longer than usual, in the way your lips hover just near hers without kissing, making her wonder, making her wait, making her want. And that takes restraint, that takes awareness, that takes confidence in your ability to lead the moment without rushing to the destination. Because when you master this, the bedroom becomes a natural extension of the connection, not a goal, not a prize, but a continuation of something that started with your energy long before you ever touched her. And when the moment comes, when she gives you the signal, when her body language is open, when her lips part slightly, and her breathing changes, and her pupils dilate, and she leans in, you don't hesitate. You don't ask for permission like a boy, but you don't force anything either. You lead her into it gently but firmly, like a man who's in control of the moment, who respects her but also isn't afraid to take charge. And that contrast is what drives her wild, that balance of power and sensitivity, confidence and care, intensity and respect. So if you want her to be with you the same day, don't rush, don't brag, don't chase. Instead, build a moment, become the kind of presence that makes her feel alive, seen, safe, and deeply desired without saying a word. And when she feels that, when her body responds before her mind catches up, when the tension between you is thick and sweet and undeniable, you'll realize you didn't need to make anything happen. You simply allowed the connection to unfold, and that's when she'll give herself to you, not out of guilt, fear, or persuasion, but because she wants to, because her body and mind are both aligned in choosing you, right here, right now. There's a moment, a very specific moment, when everything shifts in a woman's mind, when she forgets what time it is, where she is, what she had planned, who she's supposed to be, and she's simply present, fully immersed in the energy between the two of you. And that moment only happens when you know how to build a bubble around her, a private, magnetic, emotionally charged space where it's just you and her, disconnected from the world, untouched by judgment or pressure. And inside that bubble, her defenses start to melt, her doubts quiet down, and all that matters is what she feels. And if what she feels is excitement, safety, playfulness, and undeniable chemistry, she'll step into that space with you willingly. Because when a woman feels emotionally free, when she feels like she's in a world where nothing exists but the present moment, she lets her sensual side lead, and you don't need to push, you don't need to convince, you just need to be that space for her. Creating that bubble doesn't come from trying to impress her with facts or force her into deep conversation too soon. It comes from flow, from reading the moment, from being so tuned into her that you can feel her energy shift without her saying a word. It comes from asking the right questions, the kind that make her think about herself in a way she hasn't in a long time. Questions that pull her into a space of self-expression, of reflection, of curiosity. Questions like, what's something you've always wanted to do but never told anyone? Or what's a moment in your life that completely changed you? And when you ask questions like that, not in an interview tone, but in a relaxed, playful, emotionally available way, she feels drawn in, because suddenly this isn't just a conversation, it's an experience, and she's no longer answering out of habit, she's answering from the heart, and that opens her up to connection on a level most men never reach. And while you're building this emotional rhythm with her, you're not just talking. You're listening, and not passively, but attentively, responding not just to what she says, but to how she says it, to her facial expressions, to the energy in her voice, to the way her eyes flicker when she talks about something that excites her. And when you reflect that back to her, when you say, I noticed the way you smiled just now when you mentioned that, why did that light you up so much? It makes her feel so seen, so uniquely understood, that she starts to forget she's talking to someone she just met. She starts to feel like you get her, and that illusion, or rather, that rare reality, pulls her deeper into the moment, where nothing feels rushed or scripted, where every second feels personal and real. Inside this bubble, you're not trying to be perfect. You're not worried about whether she likes you. You're just being honest, playful, unfiltered in a grounded way, and that gives her permission to do the same. And as that authenticity flows between you, it creates intimacy, not the forced kind, but the kind that builds effortlessly when two people are genuinely enjoying each other without a checklist or an agenda. And that intimacy, once it begins, creates momentum, emotional momentum that carries the interaction forward, from laughs to stares, from words to touches, from jokes to silence. And in that silence, in that pause, when neither of you feel the need to fill the space with words, something deep is happening, because silence only feels comfortable when connection is real. And when a woman can sit in that kind of silence with you and still feel warm, still feel safe, still feel drawn in, she's already halfway to surrendering to the experience entirely. And now, when you guide the moment, not control it, but guide it, with ease, with clarity, with confidence, suggesting what to do next, whether it's let's grab another drink over there, or wanna walk a bit, it's loud in here. She follows not because she's obligated, but because the energy between you has made her curious, made her invested, and the way you lead makes her feel like she doesn't have to think, like she can just follow your energy and trust where it's going. And that's when everything starts to move quickly, Not because you're rushing, but because the tension has built up naturally. And now every interaction, every glance, every soft laugh carries a layer of intimacy that didn't exist minutes ago. And that's when her attraction turns into desire, not because of anything you asked for, but because you created the space where desire could rise. And as this bubble gets stronger, you begin to play in it, teasing her, flirting, using subtle physicality, a light touch here, a brief whisper there, not to be provocative, but to deepen the bond, to add layers of sensation to the emotional connection that's already taking root. And when she responds with touches of her own, when she leans into you, plays back, opens up her body language, that's when the moment becomes electric. That's when she's no longer just interested, she's engaged, she's emotionally and physically synced with you, and in that sync, time disappears, and now she's no longer thinking about whether this is too soon or what people might say or whether she's that kind of girl. Because in this bubble, there's no judgment, no outside world, no noise, just chemistry, energy, presence, and choice. This is where women make their real decisions, not when they're analyzing or calculating, but when they're feeling, when their emotions and senses have taken over in a safe, exciting, non-pressured way. And if you've guided the moment with genuine presence, empathy, and a willingness to connect rather than control, her decision to take things further will feel as natural to her as breathing, and she won't regret it. She won't wake up the next day feeling used or tricked. She'll feel like she chose you, because you weren't just physically attractive or smooth with words. You made her feel something real. You gave her the gift of being in the moment, and that is rare, that is unforgettable. That is why some men are remembered after one night, while others fade into nothing. So stop thinking that getting her into bed is about manipulation or game. Stop thinking that you need to convince her or wear her down with persistence, and start understanding that what she really wants, what turns her on more than your looks or your money or your stories, is the way you make her feel, the way you lead her out of her busy, noisy, complicated mind and into a moment of connection, a moment where she can be free, feel wanted, feel alive. And if you can create that bubble, if you can hold that space with presence, energy, attention, and grounded confidence, then you'll realize you never needed tricks, you never needed lines. All you ever needed was to make her forget the world and remember how good it feels to just follow her desire without apology. Let's be clear, this isn't about tricking women. It's not about manipulation. It's about understanding feminine energy, emotional intelligence, and how to genuinely connect with someone in a way that ignites both hearts and bodies. When you master emotional safety, seductive presence, and that intimate bubble of connection, you don't need to chase. The moment will naturally unfold. And yes, she may want to sleep with you that very same day, not because you pushed her, but because you unlocked the part of her that wanted to. So stop thinking with desperation. Start thinking with depth. Be the man who understands. Be the man who leads. Be the man she chooses, not just today, but every day after.